Hello guys, welcome to the final chapter of the SEO content writing course. In this chapter we'll be learning about the various SEO content writing careers that you have and how to go about it, like how to build a resume, how to reach out to the recruiters, and all the things that you need to keep in mind and to do properly in order to build a successful SEO career. So the things that we have learned so far is the on-site SEO factors and the number of various checklists that you need to keep in mind while you are publishing the article, and the things that you need to do before you publish the article as well. And the second chapter we looked into how one could use the various keyword research techniques like the target keyword research technique and root keyword research technique to both identify the most valuable content out there in order to be in order to rank well, as well as we discuss the various subtopic research techniques, so that we'll be able to craft the most relevant and valuable content which will outrank any other content out there. So finally, in this chapter we'll be learning about SEO careers. So I have a question for you guys. Do you think have you learned enough regarding the SEO content writing material, or do you think there is more that one could learn in the SEO content writing domain? Trust me, most of the content writing interns that I have worked with so far personally in some of the biggest companies out there don't know half the things that you learned in this particular course. This course was crafted in such a way that this is more than what any SEO content writer would need. So the thing about the SEO industry is there is only so much that you can learn through courses and theory, and I've made sure this course is as practical as possible. The remaining learning curve you have to do while you are experimenting it. Would you believe me if I told you that even most SEOs don't know half the things that you learned here? So shall we just start applying what we have learned so far and start building our career in the SEO content writing industry? So here's a surprise offer for everyone who stuck till the end. You will be getting updates about the latest SEO news and trends that will be relevant to SEO content writers right in your mail weekly or monthly, because SEO is a very fast moving and evolving industry, and we need to evolve as a content writer as Google evolves as a search engine. So the number one thing that you need to ask yourself is, what really matters while we are applying for internships or jobs under content writing or SEO content writing? Is it experience or is it the certifications? I can answer this question in my sleep and say it is experience. One can do a lot of courses in SEO content writing or creative writing, digital marketing, SEO copywriting, e-commerce copywriting, whatever it is, you could do a lot of courses. But does it really matter in job interviews? Yes, I really understand when you say that it can be very enticing to have a list of certifications to just showcase in your resume and CV. I fell for this trip. I had over 30 certifications in digital marketing, and I was surprised to know that none of them really mattered in job interviews, because they all start with the question, so tell me about your experience in digital marketing. So when they ask about experience in digital marketing, if you just talk about the courses that you did and all the number of courses that you did in the past, then it does not really matter. They'll think that you are just a beginner and they'll just let you go. So what I learned is certifications are just background noise to interviewers, and the only thing that matters is experience and the resume, the experience section in the resume. So let's look into how one could build a really strong resume or really strong profile in order to be very irresistible to any job interviewer, right? So yes, just a tool that I recommend that most of you might have already known. I use Canva for building my resume and CV. So there are a lot of free tools out there, so you could go ahead and explore all of them. But if you're a SEO content writer, Canva would be a really easy platform for you to navigate through, and it's just a matter of 1 hour or something that you could just fill in all your credentials and the details, and it's all done. So the number one tip that I will give for anyone who's trying to build a very irresistible profile or a very strong resume is to start your own blog or your own website. So it doesn't matter if you are just a beginner or if you have a lot of experience in content writing already before. If you want to stand out of the crowd, you need to start your own website. If you are running short on finance, you could start a free blogs or something, but still I would recommend you start your own website and start putting content out there. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because of what I experienced when I first started out in digital marketing and SEO content writing. So what I did was, even before I even learned about any digital marketing courses or whatever it is, I created my own e-commerce website based on some free YouTube tutorials on WordPress website, because Shopify was quite expensive. So I started my WordPress website, and just costed me a little for the domain and the hosting. I used some shared hosting. So what happened was, I first created the e-commerce store, but I was not able to make any sales because I didn't have much knowledge of digital marketing. Then I went ahead and learned a bunch of courses. Like I told you before, I have over 30 certifications in digital marketing and SEO content writing alone. So when I did this, when I started learning in the courses, I was able to use what I learned in the courses in the website that I already created, and using this I have a really good experience, my own experience in my own website. So this made it very easy for me to get a lot of internships. I used to get so many internships without any struggle at all. And when I ask the interviewers for feedbacks, which I suggest that you do too, even if you get rejected, you ask for the feedbacks. So when I asked them for feedbacks, they told me that it's super impressive that you created your own website while you are in college, and you used what you learned and applied it practically. So the practical aspect really impresses them, and the fact that you created your own website makes you stand out of the crowd more than anything else. And it's a sign of very strong passion and interest in the particular field, right? So I recommend that you start your own blog or website and put out 10 to 20 well researched and well written blogs out there, and then if possible you could even put out an ebook and put some money over it, a paid ebook sort of thing. So start a website based on a passion that you have, so it will be easier for you to continue doing the hard work over a period of years, because I started back in 2018 and it's 2022 now, and I'm still going strong. I have the same website and I'm still going strong. So it's important that you start a website around your passion rather than just to showcase your skills or proofs, because over time those kind of things will die down unless you have passion supporting it and driving it. And what's stopping you anyways? You know how to find the most valuable and the most rankable content out there with decent traffic potential as well. You know how to do proper SERP research and proper root keyword research to write content that will definitely outrank your competitors. So this is more than any content writer would know, because I've fed you what you require from the SEO industry to be a successful content writer and a content manager, so you could prove that you are worthy using your website. So it will be easier for you in the job interviews. That's my point, guys. And just think about it. When an interviewer asks, tell me about your past experience, and you talk about your blog and say, I have the ability to create organic traffic on my own without a team backing me up, that's everything that a job interviewer, that's more than what a job interviewer want to hear from a SEO content writer. So this will make you irresistible, guys. You will definitely get jobs if you just go ahead and do this. And the number 2 point to cover is internships. Like I said before, starting your own blog is one thing, but you need to learn from other companies as well. You need to be exposed to a variety of roles which you will get in internship experiences. You could even multitask 2 to 3 internships, remote internships, in a month, and you'll learn a lot of things. It will be hard work, yes, but you will learn a lot of things. Also, doing so will help you build your resume well. It's important that you mention about how you are able to drive the KPIs or the key performance indicators of the company in your resume. You'll be putting the name of the company in the resume and the job role that you did, right? And under there, usually people list out the tasks that they were exposed to. Yes, you could do that, but it's also important to mention what you are able to contribute to the company's growth, the KPIs, key performance indicators. So whenever you join an internship, just ask them what they value, the performance indicators or the metrics that they value, and make sure that you work your level best to improve that metric, so that in your resume you can put it as, like, for example, in the company that I used to work for before, I increased the website traffic, which used to be 1,000 per week, to over 5 to 6,000 per week. So organic traffic was a key performance indicator, and I was able to increase it in around a year. So similarly, for a content writer, it might be something. So for each and every company would have different KPIs. So make sure you ask them, and make sure you put in your effort to improve them as well. So if you're just a beginner and you don't know where to start doing internships, and if you're from India, I would recommend that you would go to Internchala. And if you're from any other countries, you could go to a bunch of freelancing websites like Upwork. I have a separate resource dedicated to people trying to find internships and freelancings from India or any other country. So you could go refer it there. It will be linked in the resource down below. So also, let's just quickly cover through the common mistakes that people make while applying for internships. So the frequency in which you apply matters a lot. A lot of people have this fear of rejection, like when someone rejects, it will reflect badly on them, and it will make them feel bad, and they start getting low because they feel unworthy. See, one thing you need to listen to here, guys, is you should not be afraid of rejection. You need to apply to like 5 to 10 companies per day in any of the platform that you are using to find internships. Why am I saying this? Because there will be hundreds and thousands of students who are applying along with you, and the chances of you getting picked up is actually very low. So even if you have a very strong profile, you need to apply for a lot of internships without having this fear of rejection. The number 2 mistake that a lot of people make is, there will be sections like, why should I be hired for this internship, while you are applying for the internship itself. So a lot of people go easy on this. It can be tiring for you to type the same thing over and over again, or you could personalize it for different companies. But the thing is, you should not go easy on this, because this is where you actually have a chance to stand out from your competitors and actually show that you are a really expressive person and you are a really good content writer. Before I go into explaining the different various templates that I use for while applying for the internships, we would have to cover one other topic. If you are an absolute beginner, you might not have a lot to write in the resume, or in why should I be hired for the internship, because all you could say is, I'm a passionate content writer and I could write so and so. But that is not good enough. So this is what you need to do if you are an absolute beginner. Number 1, start your own blog. It could be a free one like we spoke before, and then feature it in the resume. Number 2, if you have any freelance experience, do feature it. If you do not, by the end of this course, you could write an article for me based on all the things that you learned in chapter 1 and chapter 2, and I will publish it for you if it's really good. Of course, it's going to be really good because you did this course, and I believe in you that you are a good content writer. So just send it to me and I'll publish it in my... Number 3, definitely feature this course's certification in your resume. And number 4, use other free content publishing sites. For example, there are sites, there is something called as content submission sites and Web 2.0 and a lot of things like that. So what you could do is, you could go ahead and choose a domain. So if you are choosing, let's say, blogger.com, what you need to do is write 2 to 3 articles in that and feature it as a freelance experience, saying that you work for a friend in so and so company. And these 3 articles that you write under the same domain should be similar. It shouldn't be different. For example, if you're writing about cameras and the specifications and the gadgets and the supporting gadgets for the cameras or motorcycles or whatever it is, take a niche, pick a niche, write 3 articles in one content publishing site, go to another content publishing site like Medium, or if you go ahead and research a lot, just go write content publishing sites or guest posting sites or Web 2.0 sites. You could find a lot of sites in the niche that you're trying to write in, and you could just go ahead. If you are trying to publish guest posts, then you would have to mail the editor, or you could find the editor in the LinkedIn, and then you could send send it to him and say, this is what I want to publish, and can you kindly do so? You don't even have to give me any links back. That could help you fill up the experience section a little bit more, because seeing an empty resume is never really pleasing, and the chance of you getting an internship with an empty resume is very hard. And while you are doing all of these things, I still recommend that you keep applying. The frequency should never go down. Doesn't matter if your resume is full or small. If you're feeling good or bad, you need to keep applying if you need the job. So now we go to the templates for why should I be hired section. So rather than saying this out loud in words, I thought I'll just add it to the summary section or the resource section that you have at the end of this course. So it will be easier for you to just go through them and just understand what all of these are, and you could just copy paste it personally. But make sure that while you're filling out the why should I be hired section, make sure that you analyze it for each and every single company. Some company could be about writing about mental health or something a little bit more passive, which requires you to write in a more relatable tone, and some companies would require you to write a lot of technical content, which would be a little bit different. So why should I be hired section should not be the same thing for each and every single company that you are applying for. You could just adjust it a little bit. Of course, I have just copy paste the same thing over and over again, but my conversion rates or the results would always improve if you personalize it for the company. So the number thing that you need to do to add to build a proper resume or an irresistible resume is add this certification in your resume. Of course, it's an obvious thing, but you might be wondering, would one certification look good? If you already have certifications, that's fine. Please do add it in your CV and resume. And if you think that you might require a lot more certifications, of course, feel free to go ahead and explore the world of internet and find a good course for you. But then if your goal is to become an SEO content writer and to write blog articles or article writing or anything related to SEO and website, this course is more than what anyone would ask for in a course. But if you want to explore creative writing, social media content writing, ad copywriting, I don't think you need to do a course for that. There are a lot of very in-depth blogs out there. Even I have some really good blogs out there for you to just go ahead and read, because you always do not need a paid course to understand something. There are really good YouTubers as well. You could go ahead and do that, but would that be good for the resume? Like I told you before, experience is more important than anything else. No, content writing is like a sport, and it doesn't matter if you have a certification in playing cricket or tennis. You need to have the experience of playing cricket or tennis for you to be really good sportsman. Makes sense, right? So for you to be a really good writer, go ahead and get a lot of experiences and stop focusing on courses. And the last and final thing that you need to do is create a portfolio of all the articles that you have written so far. Portfolio is different from resume or CV. Portfolio is where you feature your work. It could be as big as possible. You need to feature everything that you have written and all your accomplishments. It should be a summary of your career in a web page. So portfolio is generally done in a web page. There are a lot of free websites which you could use, but I recommend you start a own website and for your blogs and everything, and have a portfolio in that, so it will be more impressive and personalized for the interviewer to go to your website and explore your world of content writing and everything, and then go to your portfolio. That makes sense, right? The next subsection under the SEO careers chapter is facing interviews. Now that you have created a really strong profile or resume, and now that you have applied it to all the companies with a really good frequency, and you have answered the why should I be hired in a really good manner, so what should you do right now? You need to sit and wait. So one advantage of being an SEO content writer is most of the interviews would most probably be over phone, given the pandemic and the nature of the work. So this is an advantage, because some people that I've seen so far becomes anxious in in-person interviews, and that's completely fine. And anyways, you have this advantage. Anyways, what are all the important things to keep in mind while you're attending a job interview? So number one, make sure you're really confident and you express yourself as much as possible, because expressing yourself is the key character of a SEO content writer, or any content writer for that matters. Number two, make sure you're alone when you're attending your interview, so you do not get any sort of anxiousness because of the people surrounding you. And number three, have this perspective in mind, because if they don't hire you, they are the one who's going to miss out on a really good content writer. You are the asset, you are the price that they have been looking for. Have this mindset, but don't get too cocky though. You need to be as humble as possible, even if you are the most experienced content writer out there, because that shows character. So why do you need this perspective is, this will help a lot with your confidence, right? This is just like how a lot of people do affirmations, to build their proper mindset when they are trying to be an entrepreneur or to improve themselves. So have this perspective in mind. You are the price, you are the asset that they are looking for, and you should not get anxious. They should be the one who should be anxious to be talking to you, because you are the price and they want you, and you have nothing to lose even if they don't select you, because there's always another content internship out there, right? Keep that in mind. Be confident, express yourself as much as possible. So finally, what are all the questions that you can expect as a content writing intern? So the only thing that the interviewer wants to know from you is, are you a perfect person to satisfy the company goals and needs for the particular role? That's all, nothing else. So I could say one thing for sure. This is a common question that any interviewer would ask. The first question they would ask is, tell me about yourself. And the way you answer this question will lead up to a bunch of follow-up questions, which might even be the end of the interview. Generally people would first talk about where they are studying, or where they are working, or where they worked before. They talk about the past experiences and the certifications, and how their journey as a content writer started, and how it progressed, and how it ended, and what are all the important things that they learned, important challenges that they faced along the way. And then there might be a little bit of background information about who you are, where you are from, and everything about your personal credentials, right? So just remember, these are all the important things that they want to know. So number one, your past experiences, the kind of roles that you have worked in before, and number two, how busy you are and how much time you can dedicate for the role that you're taking up. Any other skills that you might have that they could potentially use while you are being an intern in their company. How your life is, and if there is anything in your personal life that could potentially hold you back from doing your job properly. So that's all guys. I am really grateful that you stuck till the end of the video, and this is the first course that I ever made, and I made sure I put in a lot of months into this. I put in a lot of my personal experience. I've given pretty much everything that I know about SEO content writing in my 4 years of experience as a digital marketer and an SEO. So I hope this really helped, and I'll promise you guys, this is everything that you would need. And if you just understand the chapter 1 on about how to publish everything, and if you just practice how to do the target research, basically selecting the topic and properly executing the subtopics. Of course, one advice that I really need to give you guys is, I will be giving updates about the Google algorithm changes and everything, but it is in your hands to use what you learned here in your professional life, and also make sure that you experiment with a lot of things and you learn along the way. You learn your own things. The learning curve also starts when you start the experience as well. So one other thing, so now that the course has ended, you could potentially send your article. You could write an article for me if you are willing to work for me. I am going to start a content agency, and because I've been getting a lot of requests from people and clients that I worked with before, and now that I'm working in a full-time job, it's really hard for me to take care of everything, right? So I'm going to start a content writing agency, and based on the articles that you send me, I'll evaluate you based on your research skills, your writing skills and everything. Of course, I believe that all of you who are doing this course is really, really worthy of being in my content writing agency, or being in an MNC, or whatever it is that you desire to do. So yeah, guys, if you wanna work with me, do send me an article. I'll evaluate you and I'll join you to a WhatsApp group where you'll be where you can potentially start a career with me as a content writer as well. So saying that, this is not the end. I'm hoping to talk to all of you guys. Thank you.